Hello, I'm Esther Gitu Yuwat. Welcome to Africa 54. Here's what's coming up. U.S. Vice Presidential nominees Tim Walz and J.D. Vance trade barbs in their one and only debate. We'll have a report and analysis. Iran fires ballistic missiles at Israel, sending Israelis scurrying for cover in bomb shelters as Israel launches a ground incursion into Lebanon against the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. And in our technology report, a leading fintech company in Zambia marks a significant milestone to empower African individuals and businesses. All this and much more coming up on today's Africa 54. We begin our broadcast in New York, where U.S. Vice Presidential nominees Tim Walz and J.D. Vance met for the first and only vice presidential debate of this election season. Tina Trinh has the details.
Republican nominee J.D. Vance and Democratic nominee Tim Walz met Tuesday night in New York City for the only vice presidential debate of this election season. At the 90-minute event hosted by CBS News, the candidates discussed the U.S. economy, Iranian attacks on Israel, and gun control, with each man attacking his opponent's running mate. Vance is running with former President Donald Trump, who says Walz upended global diplomacy. Walz is running with the current Vice President Kamala Harris, who Vance blamed for problems in Springfield, Ohio, where he and Trump have repeatedly made false claims about Haitian migrants eating household pets. On the divisive issue of abortion rights, Vance said it's a decision for states. Walz says it's a decision for women and their doctors. After the debate, supporters of the candidates gave their take on the night.
This was an overwhelming, dominating performance by J.D. Vance. I think the American people, he spoke directly to them about issues that matter. The immigration crisis, illegal immigration crisis caused by Kamala Harris as Joe Biden's open borders are. The national security crises, as well as the economic crisis, the inflation that families are suffering from.
Tim Walz is who he is. I've known him for well over a decade. I served with him for 10 years in Congress. This is somebody who's authentic, right? He's not going to be slick. He spoke from the heart on issues that matter to him and really brought it home for the American people.
Early voting has already begun in 23 states, and with just over a month to go before Election Day, polls show this presidential race continues to be a close one. Tina Trinh, VOA News, New York.
For more on the U.S. vice presidential debate, I'm joined live from Wynwood, Pennsylvania by Russell Stone, Professor Emeritus of Sociology at American University. Russ, you've had the Democrats and the Republicans. What do you think were the key takeaways from the debate? Begin with Tim Walz, then J.D. Vance.
Well, I see the debate basically as political theater. These were performances and entertainment. They do little to change the outcome of the election. Although they can be a liability. Candidates can let their running mates down if they do a bad job. And that did not happen last night. Neither one let down their candidate. Walz came across, while he was initially very nervous, came across as sincere and enthusiastic as the debate went on. Vance was something of a chameleon, switching from his role on the road as an attack dog for Trump to being more conciliatory and addressing the issues in a more reasonable manner.
Well, Russ, they both looked very, ready to debate. They had a lot of energy. They even agreed on some issues, and they both addressed the issue of gun violence, especially in schools here in the United States. Did you get a sense that they could have a common approach to deal with this vice?
Yes, this is an issue where they seem to come together, although coming from very different positions, because Walz pointed out that he is himself a gun owner and used to travel with a gun in his vehicle. He doesn't do that anymore. But and Vance came across as saying that what was needed was a more defense of schools, a hardening of the schools. And that was a point of contention between them.
Did you see anywhere they seemed to agree, other than on the issue of gun violence, in terms of the economy, because that has been a big issue here in the United States lately, and even in terms of sort of equality, in terms of how Americans view themselves, especially when it comes to an election such as this?
Well, they came together more than the main candidates do. There was agreement on a number of issues, and at many points they pointed out that what really needs doing is not up to the executive, not up to the president, but up to Congress. It needs congressional action on all of these issues, and so far that has not been forthcoming in a polarized political structure in the American political system.
Russell, many thanks for your insight. Russell Stone is Professor Emeritus of Sociology at American University. Americans are preparing to vote next month in what promises to be a very close presidential race. Like most voters, members of the African diaspora community face a stark choice when deciding which direction the country should go. Jeff Swickard spoke with both a Donald Trump and Kamala Harris supporter to get a sense of their very different lived experiences.
Lebanon Seyum is a very industrious man.
We're gonna leave it to run for a few minutes.
He works long hours running a small trucking company with 3 long-haul trucks.
Hey!
He came to the U.S. with his family to escape the war between Ethiopia and Eritrea in 2000.
You got a kill switch on this truck?
It forced people to leave their countries, and that caused a lot of problem for a lot of families at that moment, and a lot of families actually moved to the States.
Lebanon considers himself a fiscal and social conservative and is a big supporter of President Donald Trump.
When President Trump was in power, it was an amazing type of business. You know, the market was great, the job opportunities were great, and people were optimistic.
When it comes to his trucking business, Lebanon is feeling the pinch of high fuel prices, and that he blames on President Biden. He says during the Trump administration, fuel prices were in the $3 a gallon range.
Right now, unfortunately, with the gas prices, it's hovering around $5 for the diesel, $4.50, $5 for the diesel. And as you know, transportation is the bloodline of the United States. Almost 70% of the goods are moved through trucks like this.
Global oil prices are extremely volatile and set by a complex set of factors. Lebanon insists former President Trump has the answer.
Trump showed us the way to do it. You drill, and then you compete. You see, now we don't need to explore other ideologies.
Democrats, like Fatmata Berry, see the choice in this election very differently. She came to the U.S. at the age of 11 from her native Sierra Leone. After law school, she settled in Montgomery County, Maryland, to pursue her passions, community advocacy and immigration law.
Looking good. My dream would have been to have the kind of work where I can do the community work and still make a good enough living to live well.
Fatmata is a fierce advocate for civil rights, women's rights, and immigrants. She will be supporting Kamala Harris this November.
I think Vice President Kamala Harris is a person for the people. She is the person we need right now to bridge the divide that is in this country.
She is worried about Trump winning the presidency again.
The black community is being hurt more by the illegal aliens. 16.
I am scared. The fear of immigrants is starting up again. The fear of black and brown people is starting up again. And it's hard when the person on top is leading it, so everyone else feels comfortable.
She says if the past is any guide, immigrants following the legal process will also be impacted by his plans to deport an estimated 11 million illegal migrants from the U.S.
And when they go for the interviews, they're doing it legally. They're detained and they're held. And some have been deported when they were not supposed to be deported.
Today, she is volunteering at a food bank.
Where do you want it?
She says although economic indicators are strong, there are many who are still falling between the cracks.
We look at the numbers, and the numbers look good, but there are people who are being missed, who we don't always think about, the hourly wage earners, the people who there are 2-3 families living in one home. The contrast basically is that the top 0.1% will have all the money and the rest of us will be struggling if you go with Trump. And the nation was never built like that. America became America because of the work that the blue-collar workers did in this country.
Two distinct visions for America, two distinct choices for the future. Jeff Swycord, VOA News, Silver Spring, Maryland.
The Middle East could be on the brink of an all-out war after Iran fires nearly 200 ballistic missiles at Israel. Meantime, the Jewish state launches a ground incursion into Lebanon to attack Hezbollah infrastructure near the border with Israel. Linda Gradstein reports from Jerusalem.
Israel's anti-missile system shot down most of an Iranian missile barrage fired Tuesday, and there were no reports of injuries. Iran said the attack was in retaliation for the killings of the leaders of 2 proxy militant groups. Israel killed Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah last week, and Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was killed in July. Israel has not claimed responsibility for that killing. Israel's ground operation targeted the Hezbollah militant group and is limited in scope, says military spokesman Daniel Hagari.
Our soldiers entered Hezbollah's underground infrastructures, exposed Hezbollah's hidden weapon caches, and seized and destroyed the weapons, including advanced Iranian-made weapons. Overall, IDF soldiers exposed and dismantled over 700 Hezbollah terror assets during these operations. And there's a lot more work to do.
Hezbollah responded with rockets fired at northern and central Israel. Israeli forces warned residents of southern Lebanon to leave their homes for their own safety.
Our war is not with the people of Lebanon. It's with Hezbollah. This is a clear message to the international community.
Israeli analysts say Israel has struck a serious blow to the Iranian proxy group over the past few weeks, including the assassination of leader Hassan Nasrallah and several other senior Hezbollah officials.
The amount of operational accomplishments that Israel has fortunately been able to do and to perform is immense. And I think that this exemplifies not only the capabilities, but also the seriousness in which Israel has been preparing towards Lebanon. For sure, this has been a blow, a surprise for them in many ways, to them, to the Iranians, and others.
But others caution that Hezbollah is still a formidable enemy.
I would say that the biggest focus for me as a person looking at this, as somebody from the outside inside, is the arsenal and the weapons themselves, but the capabilities that Hezbollah built adjacent along Israel's northern border.
Israel says it does not intend to stay in Lebanon long term. Israeli officials say they just want a way for the 63,000 Israeli residents who were forced to leave their homes almost a year ago to return. Linda Gradstein, VOA News, Jerusalem.
For more on the Israel-Iran tensions, I'm joined by Khosrow Isfahan, a researcher at the Strategic Litigation Project at the Atlantic Council here in Washington. Mr. Isfahan, welcome to Africa 54. Let's start off with Iran's attack against Israel. It is said to have been more complex, allowing even more warheads to get through. What do you make of this, the planning that went into this before the attack?
In this round of attack against Israel, the Islamic Republic used this specific type of ballistic missile, Fatah, which is one of the more advanced types of ICBMs that the Islamic Republic has developed over the years. Through the process of planning earlier today, Reuters revealed that the Supreme Leader has directly ordered the attack. He has been always a cautious gambler when it comes to these type of attacks, but with Iran proxies taking strike after strike from Israel, he sees his hands empty. now he's going for escalation.
And now Israeli experts are said to have collected more than 180 missiles for analysis. What do you think they expect to do once they find out what this is all about?
So in case of what Israel can learn from the remains of the missiles, I don't think they will learn anything new, because Iran's security apparatus is deeply infiltrated by Israeli intelligence agencies. They know all the secrets of the Islamic Republic, the same way that we know they knew where Haniyeh was staying in Iran, or what bunker Nasrallah was staying in.
Now, again, Israel is at war with Hamas. It's several fronts here. The Hamas in Gaza, again Hezbollah in Lebanon, and now Iran. Where do you see this conflict going as we get closer to the one-year anniversary since the Israeli hostages were taken by Hamas into Gaza?
The Iranian supreme leader, I earlier said that he's a gambler. Through his almost 4-decade rule, he has gambled with human lives again and again, but he has always been risk-averse. In this case, he's hedging with the hope that the world is going to restrain Israel the same way that Western governments, specifically the US, restrained Israel after Iran's April attack against its sovereignty by the Iranian regime.
Do you see this as a big test for Israel when they have to fight with all these neighbors, especially some that haven't even been provoked, like Iran saying, we are going to attack Israel anyway, we're going to throw out these missiles there?
To be honest, this is not Israel being pitted against multiple nations. We are facing a terrorist state, the Islamic Republic, sponsoring terror groups throughout the region, including in Lebanon, the Hezbollah, in Palestinian territories in form of Hamas. These groups have been historically backed and directed by the Islamic Republic. They are proxies of this terrorist regime that has taken hostage the Iranian people and the whole region. So it eventually boils down to a single front struggle between the state of Israel and the terrorist state that the Islamic Republic is.
Hosru, and quickly, what do you make of the announcement by the Israeli foreign minister declaring that the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres is persona non grata in Israel, effectively banning him out of, going into Israel?
That actually falls in the same category that we have been seeing over the past months, that the influence campaign of the Islamic Republic aimed at isolating Israel on the global scene. This can play into the hands of the Islamic Republic, depending on how Israel will go forward.
Very well said, Hosru. Thank you very much. Hosru Isafani is a researcher at the Strategic Litigation Project at the Atlantic Council here in Washington. We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come, a Zambian institution focuses on promoting financial literacy. We'll be right back.
This week on Straight Talk Africa, artificial intelligence is a game changer worldwide. On the African continent, scientists and developers are using AI to push the boundaries in medicine and business. Can artificial intelligence become an engine of growth in Africa? Join me, Vincent McCory, and my guests on the next Straight Talk Africa.
States Agency for International Development reveals that malnutrition remains a significant challenge in Nigeria, with severe acute malnutrition impacting 3.6 million children and contributing to 50% of all deaths among children under 5 years old. This week on Our Voices, we'll talk with the talented Nigerian Nollywood actress Chioma Chukwuka Apota, the USAID Goodwill Ambassador for Nutrition. She'll talk about her journey and efforts on fighting malnutrition. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
In other news, the lawyer for Tunisian politician Ayachi Zamel, a candidate in the North African country's October 6th presidential election, says he has been jailed for 12 years. Abdusattar Messoudi says the Tunis court sentenced Zamel in 4 cases related to voter endorsements. Incumbent President Kais Saied remains the front-runner for the presidency. Nigeria Tuesday marked the 64th anniversary of its independence in a generally somber mood on Tuesday. Persistent inflation, widespread insecurity, and unpopular economic reforms have left many Nigerians feeling frustrated and pessimistic. President Bola Tinubu has acknowledged these challenges but says the ongoing reforms will lead to prosperity. And an alleged coup against Benin's President Patrice Talon has been foiled, and 2 men who were arrested last week are behind bars ahead of the trial. Olivier Boko and Oswald Hameke were both charged with conspiracy against state security, corruption of public funds, and money laundering, according to one of their lawyers. A leading Zambian financial technology company, Premier Credit, is expanding into new markets and rebranding itself as Ishandi. This marks a significant milestone in its journey to empower African individuals and businesses. Tech correspondent Paul Ndiho joins us now with more. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Esther. Originally a microfinance institution, Ishandi has now expanded into Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Kenya. The company's portfolio includes digital loans and mobile banking. Its primary focus, however, is promoting financial literacy. I spoke to Chilifia Mutale, co-founder and the chief visionary officer of the and expressed their interest about crossing the 1 million customer subscriptions and what's in store for Ishandi.
As Premier Credit, we were a financial technology company primarily operating in Southern Africa, particularly in Zambia. And our company has evolved from providing traditional financial services to evolving into building a Pan-African challenger bank, a technology-enabled company that focuses on mobile-first financial services, leveraging off advanced technology using AI and machine learning to really simplify the lending process for our customers, and then providing value additional services such as payments, insurance, investment services for our customers. And we're so happy that we've crossed the 1 million customer mark from the time we started. I think from the last time we had a meeting with yourself, we only had less than 10,000 customers. And now we have over 1 million customers that are accessing our financial services from our platform and in multiple markets across Africa.
You know, sometimes we do these things and we don't know how much of an impact it's going to have. But if I hear you correctly, you seem to suggest that the media coverage that you've gotten over the years has helped to play a role in your expansion, reaching out to more customers.
With the support of Voice of America, basically what it created was an amplification of our brand, showing visibility of our capabilities as a brand. We're not known as a brand that's just primarily operating in Zambia, but a brand that is building a challenger bank for small businesses across Africa. Voice of America does not just amplify one segment that is domicile in America, but it also amplifies what is happening across the landscape in Africa, particularly also financial services, a space where we play as Premier Credit. So even as we were growing as a brand, and that has evolved into Ishandi, you will find that our visibility has expanded because we're now known as a brand that's operating across Africa and not just Zambia.
I'm glad to hear that at least on our end, we played a role in your long-term goals, expanding and reaching out to the entire continent. I could not be more proud of our team and your team as well.
Thank you so much.
At the time, you are really engaging a lot of women. You wanted women to use your services. From what you're saying, your company has grown to the extent that you are looking at over 1 million customers who are patronizing your services.
Yes, so it's not just small business owners, but also individuals, larger SMEs. We now cover larger enterprises, basically, that are looking to expand into multiple cities. We are also growing into the payments industry. Basically, we want to support our customers with not only just working capital for their businesses, but creating the payment rails that allows them to trade very cost effectively to enable their businesses to grow in a very sustainable manner, creating a financial future for themselves. Hence the rebrand for Premier Credit to Ishandi, which essentially means mine. We're giving the power back to the people. So we create an enabling platform for both small businesses to actually thrive, to expand to other markets, and we're supporting people in a multinational sphere.
You talked about how you are leveraging technology, new technology, AI, to provide these services. To what extent are the people you are engaging using some of these technologies for you to be able to serve them properly?
You will find that some of our customers who may want to access, for example, loans from us, working capital to grow their businesses, they don't have any financial records. But what they do have is transactions on their mobile money accounts. They are able to then, we are able to then, using that data, score our customers, predict their repayment behavior, and lend money to them seamlessly. We use last mile technology that is backed by an in-house credit scoring engine that's powered by AI and machine learning that basically uses various data points, various information, puts that all together to then predict the probability of default of our customer, and also predict basically and estimate very accurately the credit worthiness of this customer and their ability to repay. So what you will find that is the customer is able to trade from their market stand with their small business without all the information that we're able to gather on this customer. We're able to give you within minutes access to financial services just on the tap of the phone, on the tap of a button, whether you have access to internet, whether you are in the remote area, whether there is no brick and mortar, there is no bank in that location, you are able to access a financial service from us.
Chilufia Mutale is the co-founder and the chief visionary officer of the Ishandi. That's our Tech reporter. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you so much, Paul. Be sure to join Paul Ndiho each Wednesday on Africa 54 for his technology report. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thanks for watching. Hey, Paul.